Hey, it's Richard Miller again, Facts for Working People. I just wanted to say a couple of things, share a couple of thoughts with you. You know, one time when I was in Ireland, I was on the west coast of Ireland in Galway, and they have an airport there. And I was with a buddy of mine, and of course I got an English accent, and I went to this travel agent next door to this store we were at. It was when the Pope decided that limbo was a computer glitch, I remember. I asked something about the airport. She said, "Oh, it closes," the woman said to me. So what sort of rinky-dink town is this? Airport closes at 3 o'clock or something like that, you know? And then I thought to myself, damn, I remembered I have an English accent. And we'd been in a Gaelic-only bar the night before. And I realised I had an English accent. And I apologised to her. I said, sorry, I didn't mean to make... And she was fine with it. It was no big deal. But why did I do that? I did that because English and people that speak it there's a history of that language and those people in this country. They occupied, before the British went into Africa and India and everywhere else, they went into Ireland. The country is still divided because of that invasion. For years, the people were forbidden to speak their language, Gaelic. They were brutalised. The land was taken. Everything that you hear about in India and places like that was done in Ireland. So I just wanted to make clear that I was conscious of consciousness of mass consciousness and history there in Ireland. It turned out it was no big deal. But why am I saying that? I'm thinking to myself, it wasn't because I felt guilty or anything like that. It's being conscious of not seeing the world in terms of just the here and now. I'm an individual and that's it. So I say it because I was out walking the dog this morning, just now actually. I just got back in the city here. Because the trails are too muddy, and I'm walking along not far from the school, and I see three Arabic people coming toward me. It looked like father and mother and a child. I think I've seen the mother and the child on numerous occasions, but this time there's a big fella with them, and it was maybe a father, maybe it was a brother-in-law or a brother anyway. And as they're walking toward me, as we sort of approached each other, I said to them, "Salam alaikum." You know, and they sort of looked at me and they said, responded, "Alaikum salam." You know, I think it's like "peace be with you" or something like that, and to you as well, or and to you is the response. I was in Iraq. I went all through Iraq in 1971. Those people were very kind to me, and but anyway, part of the reason, and I'm not a shy person really, but part of the reason I don't go around saying that to Arab people. They were Yemenis probably, but you know, in the light of the terror that they're all terrorists, it reminds me of, they used to be Irish Catholics when I was growing up. I wanted, and particularly in light of this pig, this predator, this racist that has by an accident of history entered into what the most powerful position on earth, I want them to make them, help them feel a little more comfortable. And I want to say this to my fellow workers, to working class people. As I say, I've been a blue collar worker. I've worked in factories or construction type things all of my life. I tried white collar work, it just didn't work. Tried selling, but I want to say, given the climate that in this country, that this predator, the predator in chief, has encouraged and appealed to the most backward, outright ideological fascist white supremacists, but also desperate white workers who would put all that aside in the hope that this man might finally bring me a job that I can feed my family on, because they're not all Nazis. I know, I'm white myself, and I know a lot of white people, and I've worked with a lot of white workers as well. But I appeal to them especially because that's who Trump is appealing to as a member of the white ruling class. He's appealing to us on the grounds that he's our representative, really, is what he's doing. He's causing division. You have the building trades unions leadership, who are as rotten as he is, in the White House the other day, in order to sow division between the building trades and the public sector, between the private sector and the public. And I know about that, and anybody that's active in the unions knows about that. So I want to appeal to white workers. When you see people that are obviously Muslim like that, it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, they're going to be happy about it. You say to them, you know, salam alaikum, alaikum salam. If they're Pakistani, they don't say that. If they're Iranian, they don't say that. It is something similar, but it'll make them feel better about this country and about white people and about all of us. Of course, everybody should do it, but we can't deny it's the white backward whites and fascist whites, that he's racist whites that Trump is appealing to. And so don't feel embarrassed. And you know, the thing about when you try somebody's language is that I used to work a lot in Oakland, the streets of Oakland. A lot of my Latino buddies that were born in this country, some weren't, they were born in Mexico, and mostly Mexico, but some of them were born here in the United States. Some of them are Chicanos, some of them are Mexican Americans, some of them are this, some of the people identify very different ways sometimes. But I remember a couple of times I had experiences where if they were in a Mexican part of town or a Latino part of town, there's El Salvadorians, Central Americans, Mexicans, and what have you, and they try to speak Spanish, or they're spoken to, and like I'm there, I don't speak it. And because they may look Latino, and the guy will speak to them or something, and they respond in Spanish, and it's not very good because they were born here or whatever. Some do speak it well, and some don't. That I could see that there was this look, there was this, they don't give them a break, you know, you don't speak the language, you look at you, you've lost your culture, blah, blah, blah. In fact, I've seen it with my wife who's Chinese American when we're in Chinatown. Her Mandarin is not very good, her Cantonese is not very good at all. She understands more, but some of them have been very rude to her that come from overseas. You know, it's this whole crap of dividing people up along national lines. Go to the sweatshops in Chinatown where Chinese workers are being exploited by Chinese bosses. Where's the racial unity there? So, but the thing is, when that would happen to my Latino buddies, I could try to speak Spanish. I could butcher it terribly. Although I try with accent and everything else, I could butcher it terribly. People are happy when you try. It eases a little bit of the tension, and especially in this country today, because when it comes from white folks, it helps them feel we're not all like Donald Trump. And of course, we're not all like Donald Trump. But then we have to separate ourselves from them. We have to separate ourselves from the white nationalists, from white racists and Nazis. And sometimes we don't do that enough. You know, we don't do that enough. It's sometimes complicated. You don't have to get in a fight all the time. But you have to make it very clear that you're not with them. You know, it was really nice to come by them. I could see they were pleased, because I know, believe me, I don't like it. I was at a meeting one time where some black petty bourgeois was giving a lecture, some middle-class black person, a bit of a nationalist type black person. It's not like a black worker would be a nationalist. This is a middle-class person. They have different views of the world generally, and I was trying to speak, and I was the only white male, I think, in there at the time, and I had my baseball cap on, and I could see the way they looked at me, that they didn't like it too much. And here I was, a white boy with a baseball cap, and she'd had me pigeonholed, and that's not right. But we have to look at it from the situation in which we're in, and also for the fact that we are the same colour as the ruling class in this country, and we're the same gender. These things have to be taken into account. It's not a question of feeling bad, or I don't believe in feeling bad. I never did anything to anybody of that nature. But we have to separate ourselves then from those that do. So, and as I say, that was that example of the Irish. I was talking about that to a guy one day, and his immediate response to me was, "Well, I'm not a racist, or I didn't do anything." Well, we know that. But you're not individuals. We're in society, and we have. If we want to build unity, we want to build a movement that can actually emancipate working people and allow us to develop as real human beings, and allow us to understand the world around us, allow us to work less and have the leisure that money brings the wealthy, and we can. Then we have to build a movement, and we can't build a movement if we allow ourselves to be divided by people like Trump and his collage, and all of them, they're all the same. He's the most degrading, crude example of them, but they all play that same game. And so some white workers will say to me, well, the black workers can do that and this, that, and the other. Of course they can. But there's a difference, because someone once said to me about Farrakhan and the nationalists. He said this and he said that. The thing is, I'll tell you what, if I was in the ghetto and there was a riot and I saw a Nation of Islam mosque, I don't support them and I don't support him. He's a millionaire, lives up there where Obama lives. But I'd head to that mosque. You'd be safe. Okay, so they're not the same as the white ruling class. They'll never have state power. They haven't dragged white people out of their beds and lynched them, 1,000 of them a year and what have you. So there's history, and we have to function within it. Anyway, that's what I felt like saying. So it's Richard Miller, Facts of Working People. Talk to you soon.